welcome back to a brand new episode. It is honestly terrible weather right now. We've been at it this morning and it's been bucketing down, but oh, we got a good one this week. We're going to be packing out some steel. We're going to be, we might even get some rafters up and stuff like that, but let's rip into it, man. Hope you guys are enjoying. My name is David and I hope you're enjoying the series for our friggin' pool house build, man. How wicked is that? We'll just hold fire for a minute. We'll wait for the rain to pass. My rain jacket is already completely soaked, so I don't really want to get too wet and I want to try and last it out for the rest of the day. So yeah, our plan of attack today is just to start packing some steel, which we'll get into in just a second. The rain has now dissipated. Let's do it. We've just been focusing on this section for this morning. I've actually just put a few bolts in each side just to have everything connected together really nicely. But now we need to go through and attach a top and a bottom plate to this steel. We need to make sure it's nice and straight. So here's a couple that we've prepared earlier where Fabian stuck them over here. We'll get them set up and drill and bolt. Let's do it. Grab a ladder on that side or even a tall one. Okay, so we have to go to you slightly and then come back to me. Hopefully our checkout is perfect. Got a few mil to me. Hey. Okay, you might have to mark it and then cut it with the skill. Okay, attempt one. Attempt one, expanded. Oh, stop it, bro. That's straight, baby. Sweet. So now that we've got our top plate on and it's pretty damn straight, we're running with the outside edge of our PFC, nice and flush there. I'm just going to get a pencil. We're going to mark the hole that's been drilled into the PFC. We should be able to take this down and then just drill from one side. So the reason we have to pack all the steel is pretty much so we have fixings for our rafters that go on top, and then underneath we have fixings for our soffit lining that runs underneath here, and it makes it easier for us to put our cladding on the sides as well. So we're going to do this to all our beams, top and bottom, and sides. The reason we have to do the top and bottom first, is because we've got a bolt going down through here. We need to tighten it up through here so we can clamp these two together. If we were to do sides first, we wouldn't be able to get our bolt down and in and tighten it up. So that's the reason we're doing the tops and bottoms first. That's it. Hey, sweet, my bro. Here we go. The overall thickness or the width of the PFC is 75. Then we'll get the drill. Then we're just going to go through and use this auger bit. It's a 13 mil, and at the points that we've marked, it's going to draw a nice straight line, just like this. Making sure you're drilling nice and straight. That's the hard part. Now we could easily just go through and bolt that on, but what I want to do is I want to check out my washers and my nut head to sit flush with the top of this top plate, I guess you could call it. The reason being is it's going to make it easier for us to slide stuff along, and also it won't impede any of our rafters that are going in. So Fabian's created a nice little jig, just a square. Pretty much you just clamp that down onto the top plate in the right position, and you router around to a certain depth to make sure that these washers fit, and also the head of our bolt is sunk in. So I guess what we need to do, big dog, so we need to square the center of those, and then we also need to square the center this way, right? Yep. And what it's going to do is when we've got those marks like that, we just need to make sure that we've got the center of this as well. So 230, I guess? 228. 228. Okay, sweet. So 114. So we got 114, 114. Yeah, so in order for us to get the jig in the right position, you can imagine it's going to be slightly difficult because this is where our hole is and our square is way bigger than that. So I put center marks in the middle of our jig like this. Then we also run a center line both ways from our hole. Then you can pretty much just line them up like this. Doesn't matter if you've got all 4, but if you've got 3, even 2 would be good. And then you can just clamp or screw, whatever works best. Now we need to adjust the depths to make it work for us. Hopefully we can just do it in one take. Wants to be a nut and a washer, about that deep, I reckon. Not quite perfect, eh? Oh, I guess it is. Perfect. But we need to go slightly deeper by the looks, by a couple of mil. There we go. That's perfect, bro. They should all be the same distance that way, eh? Yeah, they probably won't change. That works out perfect, bro. That's perfect depth. They might change slightly, bro, because of the way my hole drills. So if you just get it in the center, it should be good. All right, and now, sucker, that's for you. Now mine is slightly different. Need like a blower, eh?
Oh, yeah. Bro.
What? Sun's shining again. What the heck? Okay, while Fabian does that, I'm gonna work on the bottom plate. Our bottom plate is slightly different on this piece because we have all our holes for our brackets for our slatted louvers. So we've got about 27 holes all the way through there. Now you can see that our BS51 bracket isn't actually checked in to our bottom plate, and it actually bolts up through and over the top of, this is a bit of Hardy Safite 6mm, which actually wraps right the way around the whole beam here. But what I want to do is, because we're only using one bolt to connect our louver together from at the top, I'm actually going to router the bracket and the nut up into this bit of 4x2 here, or 6x2, and then I'm going to cut the Safite to slot over the top of our bracket, so you can't see any of the nut or the washer or the bracket. It's just going to be a slot coming down, almost like it looks like on the concrete, where the bracket just sticks out of the concrete. Which means we would have to do 27 individual checkouts, or what I could do is I could router a whole section out all the way along to accommodate all of our brackets. So these are our brackets right here, the BS51s, which are going to get bolted on like that. That way we're not having to get things absolutely perfect, and we can just have this checked in all the way along each one of our brackets, which I think is pretty neat. So the checkout will look like that all the way along. Now, instead of routering it all, I'm just going to get the skilly. I'm going to run some lines all the way through and then break out the rest. If I had my big router here, that would actually work really nice on this situation, but
Gotta work with what you got, eh?
till it's gone, so you pay paradise, put up a parking lot. As I'm ripping these down, I don't have like the standard guide that goes on there to keep myself nice and straight in all my rippings. But what I like to do, I like to use my finger as a guide. So I'm holding that in here. I'm also holding my guard up if necessary. I'm gonna just use that to run along. And that way I'm able to keep a nice straight rip. And I'm also keeping about 3 mil distant, 3 mil between all my rips. So pretty much like a thickness of a blade. That makes it easier enough for me to pull out, but saves me twice as much time if I'm actually ripping every 3 mil to get rid of all the timber at the same time. Perfect, eh? Look at that, that's clean, eh?
Look at these holes.
What holes?
Perfect.
Don't look too close, bro. Little monster might pop out and get you. So what I'm gonna do, Faves, is we need to bolt this, right? This side here. We're gonna bolt this. Then we wanna run a string line. We're gonna run a string line from this point right here, once it's bolted, all the way down to that far corner. We need to check that this is nice and straight. I'm pretty sure it's going to be because we're bang on the monies, but I just want to check it. Pass us the gun, the rattle gun, and maybe some of those shickle washers, bro. Box. Oh, sorry. I thought it was in the box.
It's okay. It's okay, buddy.
Shuts it now. Sweet, so now what we're doing is we're just running a string line from end to end, and we're going to straighten this top plate and bolt it down, but it should be pretty spec on. And while he does that, I'm going to grab my bottom plate and clamp it up.
I think I saw some new ones.
No! Bro, we've got to use up every last little inch of our old ones before we... Someone's already taken one out of here! You freaking did! Can it over!
Where is it?
It's brand new! Literally! He's like, no, I don't have it! Nut in a second. I think I gotta take a little bit off the end of this, eh? Alrighty. Oh, I did the checkout on the wrong side. It's gonna be super easy to seal our marks with this black DPC in the way.
Oh, shit.
Okay, moment of truth. What do you guys reckon? It's gonna be pretty cool, eh? Oh, don't do that. Hold fire. BS51, got to come in, and like that. Bro, honestly, I was just about to can filming for the rest of the day because of terrible weather. Oh, yeah. Need a bit of a credit. Mean, right, that's going to be sick. Now I wonder, we're going to be able to, so you guys can actually see what's going on now. You can see that our bracket is inset into our packing timber. So I can literally get a piece of soffit now, Hardy's board, and it slide over the top of all this and close all that off, and all you're going to see is the bracket, which is really cool. But better than actually seeing the head of the nut and all that sort of stuff on the front face of the soffit lining. So we're going to go through and whip all these in. What do you reckon? You happy to do that, bro? So you can see we've done top and bottoms now, which is epic. Now we need to do the sides. So first of all, we want to pack one side and then the other. And it's a bit of a process to that because we can't put both the pieces of timber up there, clamp it on, because we're not going to know where the bolt holes need to go. So we need to put one piece up, screw through it, take it down, put the other piece up, screw through it, back the other way, and then put it up. And then that way we know exactly where our bolt holes are, and we've got holes all the way through our packing timber. Now each piece of packing timber we do is going to have a slightly different variation, but the gist is we want to make sure that it's flush on the outside of our PFC and then whatever the distance is on the inside. So 9 times out of 10 we have to rip up packers, and the packers pretty much sit on the inside of the PFCs or onto our big bit of packing timber here, and this is where the bolt will go straight through here, just like that. So Fabian this is going to depend on how far you need to pack the timber up, obviously, but Fabian's gone and got the measurements from the center of all our bolt holes that we need to put through up there, and we're going to relay that onto our 200 by 50 and nail these in place, so that way we've got the correct distance being packed off the PFC, and then when we go to bolt it together it's going to be nice, tight and compact. So we're doing that far side at the moment, bro, which is actually 200 mil thick. So I've got this 190 here, and I've ripped this 9 mil packer up. And I'll get you to get some clouts or some pins. We'll pin this on. Yep. And then I've got these packers over here, which are going to go on the front face like that. Sweet. Exactly where you've marked them out. So okay.
Pin these on.
This is going to be the top, I reckon. And then we'll pin these on. Then we can go take it up there, drill through, sorry. Clamp it on, drill through.
I'll drill through, yeah.
And then by that time, I should have this side done as well. Oh, I cut that.
What is it? What did you...
Deep breath. Shucks! Okay, now that's cool. Hopefully we can use this on the other piece. I gotta get another 200 out. Cut this one wrong. I cut the same length as the top plate there, but our steel runs past onto that frame. Hey, up here for thinking, down here for dancing. But I'll cut it now. Sweet, so the previous 200 by 50 I cut, I only measured to this point because I was facing on the other side, but the steel actually runs through further, so I'll go to that point there, which is 4810. Alright, those are 4.8, bang on them. So we're lucky. No.
See?
Ahoy! We're back on site this morning. Got a thermal on, a jumper and a jacket because it is cold. And we're in Auckland, so I'd hate to know what the rest of the country's like, but look at this, straight in, beautiful. Look at that. So we're gonna be hitting those bolts, which is all good. But we'll still grab a clamp. The bolts that we did at the top,
yeah, we'll hit those.
Yeah, it's gonna hit them, but it's good because at least we know where to check out now. So we're clamping it in place, then we're gonna go on the other side of the beam and drill back through the holes on the steel side. So it makes it easier for us to locate the holes exactly. Now, the piece of timber that we've just clamped on isn't sitting in all the way, you can see that. That's because these bolts are in our way. So now that we've got it clamped up and in, I can actually just donk like that, and it's going to make an indent on the back of the timber, and that way I know exactly where to check out. But I'm also probably gonna, hey Fabes, are we hard that way? I just got a little overhang. Pretty good? Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's cool. I'll drill these. Not my cut, mate. Can't be my cut. Sweet. I'm going to mark the center of all those bolts at the top as well, just to be on the safe side. Thing I have noticed is if the timber isn't hard on the steel, there's dust that gets stuck in behind, well, drill shavings that get stuck in behind the DPC, which is going to cause issues when we go to clamp it down. So just one thing to take note. Look at all that. But that's okay, it doesn't take 2 seconds to get rid of it. But yeah, that's right, we want to get it pretty spot on, otherwise just repercussions down the line with our cladding system and stuff. Oh.
Right. Right.
But the bolts should bolt it together. But they still go in. So let's prep up the next one. I don't think I showed you this on the first one, but we wanted to run a string line from our very corner down there to our very corner down there and get this nice and straight and in line. So what I've done is I've made sure to pack accordingly, dodgy blocks. Now I noticed that there was something out slightly right here. I see there's a brace on here because our join is right here. I want to make sure that this point's braced. So I've removed that and I can see that there's a slight difference between this point and that point here. And it sort of shows on the string line. Like, look at that. Look how nice that is. That is actually perfect. And I've checked this is perfectly plumb. So that means our setup was good with our posts and our frames, which is really nice. It just means this point here wants to go in slightly, which I mean, it also doesn't help that, see this top plate, there's a gap, the distance between here and here is a bit of an optical illusion, but it's actually narrower here. It's about 3 or 4 mil there and about 6 or 7 here. So it also makes this look worse than it actually is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly give that a hit with the big hit and put that in place. And that way I know everything is nice and straight and I can continue to pack this beam. Oh yeah, bro. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm pretty happy there, bro. Hold on one sec. Actually it probably wants to come out a touch. Hold on. Beautiful right there.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it? Woo! Alrighty, Tim Tidy, we've got 2 beams packed. Sheesh, that's such a monotonous job, especially with the rain coming in and out, in and out. Honestly, it's been terrible, but we did that one twice as fast as we did this one, which is good. We're gonna move our way onto this one now, this PFC right here. We've already got our framing members in that creates our door opening. That was part of our pre-nail. And now we're just gonna pretty much bolt that together and do the same thing, top and bottoms first and then the sides. One thing I will say with this one is slightly different. If you hold this up here, Fabes, it's hard to see, but what's happened is the PFC has actually got a bow in it, almost going like this. Now the reason that's happened, you can sort of see right here, it's flush at one side, flush at the other, and then there's a bit of a lip right here. And it's a bit of a shame that's happened, but what happens is the welder has welded the snifter plate in here, which is helping support the load of the I-beam above. And he's heated the steel up right in the middle, and I think what's happened is it's bowed it out slightly, so that is going to make things a little bit more difficult when we're trying to pack the inside of this out. Each one of our internal rippings are going to be slightly different, but that's all right, something that we've just got to deal with. So let's hit it. So it is quite difficult to try and line these holes up, but what I've found is if I just stick the drill in like this, and I'm just using my square mark as a parallel almost, or a guide, and then I actually just, it's weird, but you just envision where the drill bit goes. and then you hit a nail, so that just didn't work. But you do, you just think about like, you like guide it to that. Oh.
Oh, there's nails there, buddy.
Bro, there's a freaking nail there. Oh, I didn't put my square mark. I freaking did a little ant cock at the bottom. Hey? Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Beautiful. That's what we're talking about. Woohoo! All right, we're back on site this morning. Well, it's mid-morning actually. We're just tidying up a few loose ends and getting things ready, but we're back in the action, packing out our steel. Okay, so like I explained yesterday, this PFC here has a bit of a kink in it. So we need to make sure we accommodate for that when we're packing out our steel, especially on our ripping. So on this side, you can sort of see it might be hard in the camera, but we've gone through and we've marked the distance from our top plate to the steel on each point where our bolts go through. And what we're going to do is, instead of ripping every individual piece to the right size, we're just going to rip the smallest piece, and then we're going to add DPC on it to pack it out to make sure that it's nice and flush, which we've done. Fabian's just going through and routing out the holes as we speak, and we'll get back to putting this in 2 seconds. Same thing goes on the other side. It's just a little bit harder to explain because there's a few things in our way. So we'll get into that now, and then we're going to continue working our way up onto our final I-beam up the top there, which should be a lot easier than the rest because it's just the sides that we're packing. So hopefully we're going to be done and dusted on that, eh? Packing steel, baby, packing steel. All right, so this is the piece of timber that we were just talking about. We've got all our packers on the smallest distance that we need to. So you can see that we've got +0 on this one. Then we've got +1, +2, +3, +4, and so on and so forth, that these pretty much replicate what's going on with our steel. It's about 4 mil out of straightness. Yeah, so, which is fine. We just got to go through, add our bits of DPC on that, and we should have our timber nice and straight and ready for us to put linings on the inside. Okay, before it goes in, just wanted to show the camera something in. You'll notice that I've stuck almost a slight chamfer, like a 2-degree angle on the top of this cut when I ripped it down. That way the backside is easily able to get in, and then we have a nice snug fit when it hits the front edge through here. Just a little trick to make it a little bit easier to get the steel in, I guess. The timber into the steel. See? Hey. Oh. Now you've got the steel bit.
Oh yeah, this one.
Another little tip and trick to get the center of our bolt holes. So let's just say I've marked all my bolt holes out, and these are the centers. It's easier for us to measure up there to the center, but we want our packer to also be in the center of that mark. Does that make sense? So our hole drills all the way through. So a nice little trick is you just get your combination square from the center point and just move it over a couple of mil. Doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. And then we've got to one side. The reason it doesn't have to be perfectly accurate because we've got a bit of play with the center of our hole and the center of our packer. So I know that this is 25 mil and the center of our packers are 22.5. So just move it over a couple of mil and Bob's your auntie. Makes it a little bit faster to mark all those out without measuring and all that, just like that. Boom skis. That's the wrong size anyway.
Oh.
Ah! Bro, that was loud as! Sometimes the washer doesn't quite line up with the center of the hole.
Yeah.
You can just tap the washer down in at the back side and smack it around just like that. And then put the nut on, and then the dugger will do the rest.
Dugger.
Hey, well, I'm pretty glad that job is done and dusted. Man, it was super monotonous, eh? Holy heck. But we sort of had to take pretty extreme care in actually routering out and doing all our bits and pieces. And it doesn't seem like precision work, but we did it pretty precise just to make things easier for ourselves in the future with our cladding, our rafters that go in, everything's checked in nice and flush. We don't have to really do anything with it in the future, which is really cool. It was really fun doing something interesting like this, putting all our BS51 brackets in and figuring all that sort of stuff out, which is awesome. And yeah, the key thing to take away from this is it's just repetitive. Trying to figure out the process that makes the job go a little bit faster and just packing out in accordance to what's going on with the steel. You know, we've had a few issues with this one where it was out 4 mil. We just made allowances for that, making sure that our side beams are nice and flush and straight with the existing walls and all that sort of carry on. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned because we've got rafters and roof framing on the next one. So yeah, really enjoying this so far. Love being on site like this and doing cool, awesome jobs. So cool, awesome jobs. See you next week.